Welcome back to the channel. It is a cold day here in North Texas. So I bought something and it doesn't run, of course, but not for the lack of it's got major problems. It just has not been finished. So this is a 2003 Honda Pilot, all-wheel drive, leather interior, I guess, maybe pleather. Pretty legit. I mean, nice little third row, older car. Got it for $2,300. This is the transmission that was in it. Transmission apparently blew up going down the highway. Lady didn't want to get it fixed, and so a guy that I know bought a new transmission, installed it, found out that this transcooler, which sits right under here, is not your typical American transcooler, which would connect to your lines down here and go through the radiator. I guess this is like Japanese spec or something, transmission, and he actually got it imported, and he just kind of never finished the job. So I've got the old transmission here, which has all this stuff, and these are actually what connect to the transmission cooler lines, and then this is just kind of like a little plate that goes on right here. So the idea is that I just take this off, then bolt this on. This is your trans filter from my understanding, and then here you go. Maybe probably have to do all this stuff too, and then put it all together, lay the wiring harness back down on it, slap it all back together, and she should be able to run. So that's what we're going to try to do. So my first thing that I'm going to do is get everything out of the way of this transcooler right here, which involves removing all of this wiring harness that I already got replugged back in. I think that actually also goes, yep. So you got it going over here to your coil packs, your throttle body, I guess. Well, I don't really know what that is. Some kind of emissions thing. Something made in Mexico for a Chinese or Japanese motor, of course. Get all that out of the way, kind of see where we're at, and start unbolting stuff. Good thing is, I shouldn't have to put any money into this other than putting in transmission fluid. We're praying. I've got the old transmission with all the parts. I've got all of the remainder stuff, so the airbox, all that good stuff. Looks like I even got a trick-or-treat bucket. And then I also have the gaskets and stuff to replace that little plate that goes to the transcooler line. So with all hope, we should be able to get this thing running. And once we do, this car that I bought for $2,300 should suddenly be worth in the neighborhood of $5,000. So we'll see. All right, more to come. All right, so we've got the transmission harness out of the way. Now you can see a little bit better what I was talking about. So this is, I guess, a Japanese spec transcooler. It's got a hose right here and another hose that goes right there. And I'm assuming they just hook to the coolant system. I kind of like that better. I've never been too much of a fan of running it through the radiator, but hey, it is what it is. So yeah, we should simply be able to just take this assembly off. Again, do the same thing with this side. Replace the filter, and then throw it all back together. One thing I did notice is like this trans dipstick is kind of messed up, so I might just go ahead and replace it with the old one that was on there anyways, because that one looks to be in good condition. And then yeah, the harness is pretty easy to take off. It just got these little push-in connectors like that. Some of them were a little bit of a pain to take off, but nothing compared to like a Volkswagen Audi, anything like that. These guys, I don't know what they're called. Yeah, they help wonders with stuff like this. Cool. So next we're going to try to get that off, and then we're going to start swapping parts. Get out of the way. Yeah, I'm extremely happy that I got this old transmission, the whole thing, instead of just the piece that was supposedly the problem. Okay, so let's see. I got everything out of here as far as that transmission cooler, which sits right here, or which originally sat right here. We actually had to disconnect it from back here on this hose to get the kind of full assembly out. So here it is. Here's the back of that assembly. That's where that hose connects. And you had a couple of bumped it or banged it up a little bit, but this actually sits on there like that, and then the actual cooler sits on top of that. You can see those O-rings right there. So it was kind of playing some like mind tricks on me, because I took this off and then I was like, wait, that does not look like that. But then I realized there were 3 more bolts, so we're good. Okay. So now coming back to this, I'm going to have to pull this out and put that in the new transmission. And then also I'm going to have to take this out, which is right here, because that plug is solid and this plug is not. And this is all part of the whole assembly here. So this whole assembly, all the way up to right there, is going to come out, and then we got to swap it. So this is already in there from that one. Then the gasket goes on top of this, and then there's a rubber O-ring that goes on top of that, which is right here. This one looks in pretty good condition, but I think I have one that's the same size, so we're going to put that on there. And then lastly, I think that this might have to come off. Yeah, we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, that's the plan now. Take this, replace it, or put it in the new one. Take this, swap it out with the new one, and then this entire assembly from here on is going to go in there. But we're going to go ahead and replace this filter first, clean off the rest of this gasket, and then put the new gasket on. So I'm gonna clean it up, and then I'll show you right before we slap her in there. Cool, making progress. I love it. All right, so we got the old assembly out. We got a new cooler filter, I guess is what it's called, in there. And then we swapped out this plug so that this piece can go in here. Oh, actually, I didn't check. Yep, that's got a gasket or an O-ring on it as well. I will replace that O-ring before we get started. I've got the new gasket laid down here, new O-ring. I took these 2 bolts out, which go right there, because that's where these 2 pieces mount, or this little bracket mounts that holds all this together. And then this is pretty much stripped out. So we will slap all this in there, hopefully have no issues, and then start looking at putting more of this wiring, or putting this wiring together. Cool. Alright, the hard part I would say is done. What I struggled with the most was down here getting that hose clamp on, and then we had to put, like I said, this piece back on, got it all bolted down. I don't know what goes right here. I think it's just like a hold down maybe for one of these brackets, something I'll have to figure out. Got everything bolted up. I even swapped out the dipstick like I said that I would, and this as well. I don't know what this, I guess it's just like a vent that maybe goes in the air box or something. It sat right there, and this little end nipple, this one was straight up and down, so I had to do a little modification, but you know, could have probably just left it off, but you know, this was what was there instead. So I just swapped it out. A couple things I'm already questioning. Obviously this is going to be okay for the actual cooler itself. I don't know what this goes to, so I'm just going to have to figure out some of these things as I go along. But I'm ready to lay this harness back down, get it fed in as good as possible, hopefully not have any issues or questions or doubts. And yeah, and plug everything up and see where we're at after that. Alright, so we got everything connected. Starters connected, all the sensors that are all over this transmission are connected, things down there, etc. For some reason I just happened to look inside the actual transcooler hose, which is right here, this one, and noticed that there was some debris in there. I had to take that hose off and clean it out and put it back together, or put it back on, but no problems with that. Everything over there is all connected. I managed to find some extra bolts and stuff that I had from this other transmission to mount the harness properly. I do got some kind of something going on over here. I'm missing a bolt right here, but I don't know what that actually sits on. So unfortunately I don't know. Actually, it might go over here. That might be what that's for. Hey, cool. Okay, I don't even know if y'all saw that, but yeah, I think this actually goes over here, so I'm gonna try to mount that before I do anything else. And then before I put the battery tray, the intake, everything else on, I'm gonna go ahead and just put a battery in it, after I fill it full of fluid, of course, and see what happens. I guess this thing does not have like a mass airflow. So yeah, I looked over here on the actual intake itself. There's this hose and this hose, or these two inlets right here, which are for this and that. And then here's the one that goes to the transmission, which is sitting right here. So just a couple of little vacuum lines. Yeah, but there's no mass airflow or anything on this. So we should just be able to put a battery in it and see how she goes. I would just like to, you know, get it out of gear, so on. Put it back and then be able to throw the rest of this together. I'm not sure where that goes either. Yeah, we'll figure it out, because that's what we do. We just figure it out. Cool. So hopefully next time I turn this camera on, car's running. Alright, so we got a battery temporarily hooked up. Got everything plugged up. I actually had to take this back out. I don't even know what that's for, really, to be honest. And fill it right there. I was looking at some other information, and apparently the plug that was originally in it, so wherever that's at, that one is typically what's in there. So I might do a little research, try to figure out why that's there, but not today. So got a battery rigged in there. Oh, damn. Cheap extra battery that I got for free. Son of a bitch. Come on. I cry. Alright. Please hold. Alright. Take two. Had to replace this battery terminal on this positive side. This thing is junk. I hate these cheap battery terminals. These ones are a little bit better. They're threaded all the way through. I have good luck with those. But these like red and black ones, they come in a kit for like 10 bucks. They're no good. Like these are, this kit I think was like 25 bucks. Come on. Just get good battery terminals. It's not that hard. But I think we're good. Let me see if she'll start up. She's in park. Obviously, get some vacuum lines open. Now we're gonna see. What? Nice. Okay. Drive. Works as well. Holy shit. Okay. Alright. So we're gonna cycle through the gears a few times. Then fill it the rest of the way up. I think this takes 8.2 quarts. And then we're going to get it ready to go on a test drive. I like there are no check engine lights. Awesome. Cool. So we're running and driving. Steering wheel's off a little bit. I'm trying to make this quick, but yeah, runs good. I would have had this done yesterday, but I was letting it warm up and I was airing up the tires, making sure they're, you know, at 32, 34, somewhere in the neighborhood. And I'm glad I did that. The car started just idling, revving crazy. It was just, I mean, you could just see that tach. It was just going, woo. It was crazy. And then it started like clinking real bad. I had no clue what was going on. And then suddenly it threw a check engine light and another light. It just looked like a Christmas tree. Ended up, I didn't use a scan tool, but I used my code reader to see what was going on. And it was thrown a P0505, which is idle air malfunction. And then essentially the computer cannot keep control of the idle. It's like, okay, well, looks like I'll be having to replace parts and stuff. So I actually got online, researched it a little bit, decided to take the throttle body off and clean out the idle air control valve. Yeah, as soon as I took that thing apart, this stator or rotor, I don't know, whatever it is, it was like bound up. So I soaked it in brake cleaner. Probably should have used like mass airflow cleaner. I don't know that there's a difference, but whatever. It was a cleaner, a solvent. And then let it sit there for about 5 minutes, and then it broke loose nicely. Oh shit. It broke loose nicely, and we cleaned the rest of it out, cleaned the throttle body out, threw it back together, used the same gaskets, everything, because they were all in good condition. And then started it up, let it idle for a little bit, and it didn't do it anymore. Cleared the code out, and I've been driving it for about 15 miles, maybe. Had to go get some fresh gas. So a couple things that are wrong with it. So like I said, the steering wheel's a little cattywampus. It's the alignment itself seems fine, but the steering wheel's a little crooked. I'm gonna put it up on the lift and double check, the suspension components and everything. And then in my haste yesterday, I don't know what I did, but I smoked the radio. I think the fuse popped. And then also the battery tray is missing. That's one thing that I didn't get back from the mechanic, or the guy that had it. So ordered one of those off of eBay. I'll be putting that in before I do any more driving, just so I can make sure the batteries aren't just flopping around. I got it rigged up for now, but it's not right. And I'm not going to show you what it looks like because it's not right. And yeah, the last thing is power steering. It doesn't have any power steering. I think it's electric because I don't hear like any whining or anything. So I'm gonna have to figure that one out. Hopefully it's something simple like a fuse. So we'll see. Oh god, yeah, power steering sucks. But alright, that is it for this, and yeah, we are successfully cruising. Oh wow, this thing hasn't been inspected since 2019, so it's been down a while. Yeah, no wonder that idle air control valve was locked up. But yeah, be sure to like and subscribe, comment. Commenting is important. I did talk to the guy that's building my motor for my Fox body, and he said it's finally in the queue, so he's just got to send the heads off to go get some machine work done, and then we're getting the motor for the Fox body in soon. And also today I will be sending off my ECU and wiring harness to Fast Forward. Well, I'll be getting the quote. I already know how much it's going to cost, so I got to get a refreshed quote, and then once I get that quote, I'll be sending it off to Fast Forward for the TDI courier swap. And yeah, I got a new transmission for that too. So yeah, we got some cool stuff coming. It's been slow. It's been a learning process, and I'm glad that we started the YouTube early so that we can learn a little bit more. But yeah, like, subscribe, comment. Thanks.